Hey Steelers Nation, welcome back. We got a ton to unpack today as the latest moves in Pittsburgh are stirring up all kinds of conversation. First off, Mike McCarthy is slowly but surely shaping his coaching staff, and while he's only made one official addition so far, that one hire could start to define the direction of this team. Adam Henry has come on board as the wide receivers coach, and that might seem like a small piece of the puzzle, but every part counts when building something solid from the ground up. Now, eyes are on the defensive side, because reports are swirling about Patrick Graham potentially stepping in as the new defensive coordinator. Graham's path to Pittsburgh would come from his time with the Raiders, and while nothing is official yet, the conversation around him has already ignited debate. It's important to understand the kind of staff McCarthy is looking to assemble. He's made it clear that he plans to call the offensive plays himself, which shifts the role of his offensive coordinator into more of a design and strategy position rather than day-to-day execution. That's a big change compared to the way defensive and offensive leadership has worked in Pittsburgh for years. On defense, a coordinator here will have to stand independently with accountability across the board. Unlike past eras where defensive coaches often worked under layers of oversight, the new setup expects singular leadership and a strong vision to run that side of the ball. Now, looking at Graham specifically, the reaction among fans has been mixed at best. He's 47, so he's not exactly young and flashy, but he's far from over the hill. His resume doesn't scream headline-grabbing excitement. The Raiders had a rough record recently, finishing 3-14, the worst in the league. On the surface, that doesn't inspire confidence. But if you dig deeper, there are nuances that deserve attention. Las Vegas wasn't exactly overflowing with elite talent. Max Crosby was the clear standout, and beyond him, the roster had gaps and question marks. Yet, under Graham, that defense managed to rank 14th in the NFL in total defense, which is no small feat considering the personnel challenges. Some would argue it's an achievement that deserves recognition. Of course, context matters. Graham's teams didn't dominate in wins, but they overperformed relative to expectations. That's something seasoned evaluators take seriously. His reputation for developing players is strong, having worked under Bill Belichick, Steve Spagnuolo, and Brian Flores, among others. He's known for teaching and improving talent at the positional level, helping athletes reach their potential. Even if fans are hoping for a splashy, high-profile hire, there's something to be said for someone who knows the game, has real experience, and can build a disciplined, capable defense from the inside out. It's also worth noting the existing familiarity McCarthy and Graham share. Graham spent 2018 under McCarthy in Green Bay, so there's already a foundation of trust and understanding. In coaching circles, that kind of connection isn't about comfort. It's about safety, predictability, and knowing the work ethic and style of the person you're bringing in. A head coach needs assistants who are aligned, who understand the expectations, and who can execute a shared vision. In football, loyalty and reliability matter just as much as innovation or energy. That brings us to the broader context of McCarthy's hire. There's been plenty of debate about whether he represents a true reset for the Steelers. Some fans wanted a younger coach to usher in a new era, someone who would shake up the old systems. McCarthy is respected, certainly, but he's not a revolutionary figure in the sense of youth or radical change. That said, he brings a dual perspective. He's not just a head coach. His offensive acumen, developed over years with high-powered teams, brings a strategic depth that can benefit Pittsburgh if harnessed correctly. Some critics might point to his record and say he hasn't won enough playoff games or delivered a Super Bowl in recent years, but context is everything. Look at his time with the Cowboys, for example. When he had the right players around him, he consistently produced top-tier offenses. In 2021, Dallas led the league in scoring and yardage. The following season, they were fourth in points per game. In 2023, they were first in scoring and fifth in yardage. Even in the challenging 2024 season, injuries and personnel issues played a huge role in the struggles. The point is, McCarthy's ability to maximize talent when given the tools is clear, and that's an invaluable skill for a team looking to compete at the highest level. Of course, comparisons with Mike Tomlin will inevitably arise. Tomlin has been a steady hand for the Steelers, but his teams have sometimes underachieved defensively relative to payroll and expectations. McCarthy brings a different flavor, blending offensive strategy with head coaching authority, which could reset the bar for what success looks like in Pittsburgh. This is one chapter of a larger story, and right now we're just seeing the beginning of the staff formation. The real test will come as decisions continue, from the defensive coordinator spot to free agency, the draft, and eventually training camp. Each choice will shape the trajectory of this team and define how McCarthy's vision is implemented on the field. Fan reactions have been just as interesting as the news itself. Some were critical of the hiring process, questioning whether it was thorough enough or if younger, more energetic candidates were overlooked. Others, however, have warmed to the choice after seeing McCarthy speak and understanding the experience and perspective he brings. There's a growing consensus that his reputation as both a coach and a person could help steady a franchise that's looking for direction after years of highs and lows. People are beginning to recognize that while McCarthy might not be a flashy hire, he could be exactly what Pittsburgh needs to balance experience with opportunity. As for the upcoming seasons, much will hinge on staff cohesion and how well McCarthy and his coordinators translate strategy into performance on the field. If Graham comes aboard, the defense will have to adapt to his approach while leveraging its existing strengths. Offensively, McCarthy's involvement means play calling will be more personalized, drawing on his years of experience and adjusting in real time. This hybrid role gives Pittsburgh a unique advantage, but also a lot of pressure, because both sides of the ball will reflect the head coach's vision more directly than in many other franchises. Now, Steelers Nation, as we move deeper into the offseason, the real story is just beginning to unfold. The coaching staff is taking shape, but there are still so many pieces left to put together before we can get a clear picture of the team's future. McCarthy's approach is methodical, and while that might frustrate some fans eager for instant results, there's a reason for it. Building a team that can compete consistently requires more than flashy hires and trendy names. It requires alignment, experience, and a deep understanding of what it takes to win in this league. Pittsburgh has a long tradition of toughness and discipline, and any new coach has to honor that while also bringing fresh ideas to push the team forward. Speaking of fresh ideas, the focus on the defensive side is going to be crucial. If Patrick Graham does end up taking the coordinator position, he will inherit a roster with potential, but also areas that need development. The Steelers' defense has been talented at times, but consistency has always been a challenge. Graham's reputation as a developer of players could be exactly what's needed. He's known for teaching fundamentals, for breaking down complex schemes into something his players can execute, and for maximizing the abilities of those who might otherwise be overlooked. In a league where marginal differences can determine playoff outcomes, that kind of expertise can make a huge impact. It's also interesting to think about how McCarthy's dual role on offense might influence the culture around the team. When a head coach calls plays directly, it sends a message about accountability and precision. The offensive coordinator becomes more of a strategic partner, a designer of concepts, while the head coach ensures execution meets the highest standards. This could create a dynamic environment where every player knows the system is finely tuned and closely monitored. For the Steelers, a team proud of its identity, this could mean a return to a style of football that emphasizes structure, discipline, and smart aggression. Of course, nothing happens in isolation. The draft looms ahead, free agency decisions will have ripple effects, and the alignment of assistant coaches will shape every practice and every game. For Pittsburgh, this means a period of evaluation, experimentation, and sometimes tough decisions. Fans will be watching closely, analyzing every move, every hire, and every statement from the front office. Expectations are high, and the margin for error is slim. But there's also a sense of cautious optimism. When a franchise combines experienced leadership with thoughtful strategy, there's potential for growth that isn't always immediately visible on paper. One aspect that cannot be overlooked is how the players will respond to this new setup. Leadership matters in ways that go beyond schemes and plays. McCarthy's reputation, his ability to connect with players, and his emphasis on accountability all set the tone for what's expected on and off the field. The Steelers' locker room has seen its share of challenges, and integrating new philosophies while maintaining team chemistry will be key. Players need to trust that the coaching staff has a plan, and that plan must be adaptable yet consistent, giving them confidence while pushing them to reach higher standards. Another layer of complexity comes from the fan base itself. Steelers fans are passionate, knowledgeable, and deeply invested in the team's culture. Every hiring decision, every staff adjustment is dissected in forums, social media, and casual conversations alike. That intensity can be both a blessing and a challenge. On one hand, it creates a pressure that encourages excellence. On the other, it means patience is often in short supply. McCarthy and his team will need to navigate this environment carefully, proving that each step is deliberate and aimed at sustainable success rather than quick fixes. Beyond coaching, the integration of new systems and philosophies is where the real growth will occur. Whether it's Graham's defensive schemes, McCarthy's offensive oversight, or the way position coaches develop individual players, the combination of structure and flexibility will determine the Steelers' trajectory. Football is a game of details, and when a staff prioritizes fundamentals and execution, it can overcome talent gaps or personnel limitations that might otherwise hold a team back. This is particularly true in a league as competitive as the NFL, where small improvements can have massive outcomes over a season. We also have to consider how this offseason sets the stage for broader organizational culture. Hiring decisions are signals. They indicate priorities, expectations, and the vision for the next chapter. Bringing in coaches with experience, track records of development, and alignment with McCarthy's philosophy sends a message that Pittsburgh intends to compete thoughtfully and consistently. It's not about being flashy. It's about building a foundation that can support success over years, not just a single season. In that sense, every move, every hire, and every decision matters more than it might appear at first glance. And while the focus is naturally on the NFL side of things, there's a ripple effect on morale, community engagement, and even the narrative surrounding the Steelers. Fans respond not only to wins and losses, but also to the story being told about the team. A staff that inspires confidence, demonstrates knowledge, and respects the traditions of Pittsburgh football can energize the fan base, which in turn creates momentum that transcends the field. These intangible factors often separate good teams from great ones in the long run. Finally, one of the most fascinating elements is the comparison between McCarthy and previous Steelers leadership. History and tradition weigh heavily here, and every move is measured against past performance. McCarthy is entering a system with high expectations, yet the opportunity to redefine standards is significant. With careful coaching hires, a focused approach to player development, and a commitment to strategic excellence, Pittsburgh has the potential to evolve while still honoring the essence of what has made this franchise respected for decades. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Breaking news is sending shockwave through the Steelers organization, as reports emerge that a key player may be on the move. Sources close to the team suggest that the Steelers could be facing a significant shakeup, with one of their standout stars potentially leaving the roster. While official confirmation is still pending, the whispers around the league have already sparked a flurry of speculation, leaving fans and analysts alike scrambling to make sense of the implications. The player in question has been a cornerstone of the Steelers lineup for years, known not just for on-field performance, but also for leadership and consistency. Teammates have reportedly expressed surprise and concern over the rumors, fueling discussions about what such a departure could mean for team dynamics and future strategy. The Steelers have long relied on this individual's contributions, making the possibility of a transfer all the more shocking. Across social media and sports networks, the chatter is growing louder. Analysts are debating potential destinations, trade values, and the ripple effects across the league. Some suggest the move could be part of a larger restructuring effort, while others see it as a personal decision by the players seeking new challenges or a bigger role elsewhere. One thing is certain. The Steelers fan base is holding its breath, waiting for clarification from team management. Historically, moves of this magnitude have reshaped the trajectory of both the team and the league. If the rumors prove true, the Steelers could be entering a period of transition, testing the depth of their roster and the resilience of their coaching staff. Meanwhile, rival teams are reportedly watching closely, sensing opportunity in what could be a sudden opening in the Steelers' lineup. For now, the story remains in the realm of speculation, but the impact of a key player leaving cannot be understated. The Steelers have built a reputation on stability and star power, and losing a cornerstone figure, even temporarily, would be a headline-grabbing development. Fans and insiders alike are on alert, knowing that the next official announcement could change the landscape of the league overnight. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.